Edu, thanks for joining me. Actually, we are in your place, so I'm here that I joined you. And I would like to ask you something about your career. I know you are a community creator, DJ, and a lot of other things. I would like you to tell me more about how you consider yourself.
Pleasure to have at home. Thanks for inviting for this nice conversation.
Mhm.
How do I consider myself? I think there is a book that I read recently that talks about this kind of people, right? Which is, I think, bottom line, all of us are, but some more blossom than other ones. It's polymath,
Kind of
right?
multi-potentials.
Yeah, which we all are at some degree. Some have developed more of that, right? So my first life awakening was through business. Then I got a lot of freedom when I was 25, financial, time, location, mindset, and health freedom. And then I started exploring spirituality. So I went down that road, and then became like a space holder, yoga teacher, shamanic practitioner, stuff like that. And then towards my end of my 20s, I started exploring art just to reveal that part of myself, and got into event production and DJing, and developing many other hobbies such as fashion, which is something that I'm pretty convinced that I will be doing at some point.
Mhm.
Community was always my passion as someone from Brazil and someone from the African Brazilian part, and that also was a solution of being nomad for so long and finding communities, how to belong anywhere else. So community was my answer. So coming here to Bali, there wasn't any festival, which was my main passion during COVID. So I started doing festivals here, and it's been growing. And now we've been doing festival-like experiences because it feels a little bit more sustainable to a balanced lifestyle. And we are about to start a new branch of Awakened Dreamers, which is our label here in Bali. So yeah, I am from entrepreneur to tech savvy to DJ to space holder, mentor, fashion guy. I don't know. I think that's it so far.
Definitely a multi-potential. Yeah, the things that I'm the most curious about is about creating community, about starting movements. For example, in Brazil or here in Bali with ecstatic dance, with festival. I'd like to know more about this part.
Roots, right? Like I'm from Brazil. Like Latin America overall is a very people-oriented culture. Number one. Number two, where I grew up is not a massive city such as Rio or São Paulo. So the lifestyle is more people-centered than activity-centered. We didn't have that much going on. We had some things going on. So it's more like you get together with your closest friends and then you do something with it. And then you have fun through people. And then, my first awakening through entrepreneurship was through a entrepreneur community, right? And then I developed a new friendship during university. And then I moved to Europe, and I had a community that I lived with, and then another one that I started with. And then I started noticing that if I wouldn't have these closest people that I would relate intimately, that would be an empty space in my life that would probably highly impact my quality of life and happiness. And that kept happening when I moved to San Francisco, California to work in technology. And even though I was living in a 60 people community, that was a too large community.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, that was massive. So that was a problem because it was like very profit driven. One, massive scale, everyone very focused on work. So even though there were so many people, there was still a little bit lack of community, like belonging. And that's when I got to know ecstatic dance. And it was a deeper emotional connection and awareness in that community than the tech community that was part of it. So that felt like home to me. And when I came back to Brazil, the same problem happened. And then when I was about to leave Rio, my home base, I ended up meeting some people that we started a co-living experiment for a month. That became 3 months. That we got a massive one, and then we start a bigger co-living. That's where we start ecstatic dance, which is an amazing tool for fostering conscious connections and community. And then I started doing that, and that's how I started DJing a little bit. And I took that and traveled around Brazil doing something similar like that through communities, eco villages, urban communities, festival communities. That's when I got into festivals as well after Burning Man. And then I started traveling the world, and I started having this problem in a global scale. And I was like, fuck. Oh, yeah. And then I was like, okay, what about if I kind of start going to communities in a global scale? So I started going to digital nomad communities. I started going to tantric communities. I started going to shamanic communities. Started going to personal development communities. And I did that for 5 years. And the more I would go to those things, the more I would receive from that, and the less I would receive from traditional lifestyle or traveling.
Right.
So by the end of those 5 years, I was spending 80% of my time inside those communities. And I started getting more involved, sometimes as a facilitator, as a healer, as a space holder, as a DJ, as an event organizer. And I'm talking about 50 plus countries, right?
Right.
And then I decided to dedicate myself more to the DJing just to get more depth and results out of it. And then start growing the last year, and then COVID hit when I was already in India, coming to Bali, and then my journey here in Bali starts. And then it starts the community here in Bali, with Awakened Dreamers, being the conscious day festival in Bali that grew up, and now we're doing many events a month. Also a little bit less intense in the schedule as a normal festival. And we're gonna keep growing that direction.
Beautiful. One last question for me. What's the most exciting thing that you have in this moment?
That's an easy answer for me, because as I mentioned just before we start here, I got a new baby that just arrived into my existence this week. Awakened Dreamers, we focus this first quarter to expand our portfolio of experience events. And we're doing that and succeeding well. There is a space for growth for sure, but I just wanted to create the foundation to scale things up. And I actually have a paper there that I can show you that I designed while we were living together in the old house.
Right.
Of kind of like my portfolio strategy. First growing the events, and then going to the second phase that is space related. So you can say like there can be a venue, can be a hotel, can be a restaurant, whatever. So we're going into the real estate business, more specifically co-living, which is another passion of my lifestyle. But now I'm going as someone providing amazing experiences for other in the marketplace.
Beautiful. Thanks, Edu. It was a pleasure to have you here.